Trying this again. It started recording a little bit, but I was facing the sun. I thought maybe it would make me warmer and that it'd be better lighting. Hopefully, I mean, it should be good lighting regardless, just because we're outside, as you can see. I had planned to film in the studio, but I just thought because it's such a nice day, might as well come outside. So here we are. I probably will film in the studio later today, just because there's a couple different videos that I wanted to make, but we'll get into that. What was I gonna say? There was something I was gonna mention. Oh, so I decided I think I'm gonna stop labeling these as episodes of Lauren Rambles. I just renamed the channel Lauren Rambles. So my handle is still the Siren Soul, but I renamed the channel Lauren Rambles because basically every video I've been making is a Lauren Rambles. Is me rambling. I don't think I'm gonna be structuring them, just because it seems like when I structure it, I just get really stiff and I overthink too much. I think part of me wanting to have had them structured was because I felt like I just didn't want to miss anything when I was giving messages or talking about certain lessons. But this was also back when I was trying to deliver the messages without actually implementing stories. So, yeah, we're just gonna see how it goes. I'm gonna try not to think too hard about it. But yeah, welcome back, or welcome if it's your first time seeing me. Oh no, my coffee lid just fell. I have a coffee here, but it's too hot because I'm a little baby when it comes to hot drinks and hot food. Some people make fun of me for it, but yeah, so I have my coffee over here uncovered. I was supposed to have a meeting right now, but the person canceled and I had already bought my coffee, which is unfortunate, but oh yes, also not fortunate because I get to enjoy a coffee. Anyways, so the topic today, there were a couple different things there's a couple different videos, like I said earlier, that I've been wanting to make, some ideas or some specific things that have been floating around in my mind, but today this is the one that has been kind of just reoccurring. So I guess either somebody needs to hear it or maybe I need to express it. But it's about a person that was special in my life that passed. I have a handful of friends that I would say are godsend, and she was one of them. I'm just gonna call her my angel, just because she had a nickname that she would, or not really a nickname, more like an alias that she would go by. I usually call her by her first name when I talk about her to other people, but I feel like there was a part of her that didn't like her name. So anyways, so yeah, I feel like this could be for you if maybe you have recently lost somebody special in your life, or if there's a person that was really special in your life that had passed a while ago and maybe they're trying to contact you. I think I said this before, but I don't necessarily consider myself a channeler, because I'm speaking from, or at least for now, I like to just talk about my own experiences. But I guess if it resonates, you could see it as a channel from them through me. But yeah. So I guess to start, I will talk about what I believe in. Because of her, I think I always believed that there was some sort of afterlife, but after having this friend in my life, and then after she had passed, I now truly believe that there's an afterlife, and that I think we go back to source, back up into the ethers. I think we get to like hang out there before we come back down and incarnate again. Obviously I don't know, because I'm not dead, I'm here. But yeah, I guess I'll talk about my experience now. So I met this friend when I was in my dance crew, and we were looking for someone to make us a logo. We had actually requested for the person that made our mentor's logo to do it because they knew him, but I'm not sure if he was too busy or he couldn't take on the project, but he recommended this girl who I will call my angel. So I remember when we first met her, and we talked to her about what we wanted, or just what we were going for, that we just needed a logo, and we didn't really know how to go about it. Because we had met with somebody else before, but that person was fully about branding, and I think we were just too young and we didn't really understand all that stuff now. But now that I'm older, I see how working with her would have benefited us. But at the time, we just needed a logo. We just needed something that when we did competitions or when we did posts, we could just slap on and people would know that was us. So we met her, and I remember immediately she was saying that the three of us that met her, she felt like we reminded her of her group of friends, which was herself, the person that had recommended her, and somebody else. And I just remember when she was telling us about herself, she was an artist. At the time, she was doing corporate logos, and she was actually really excited to do ours because it had been a while since she had been able to do something that was more creative, or I guess more hip-hop, because she had a hip-hop background as an artist. So she did some graffiti work and stuff like that, in addition to drawings and whatnot. But obviously, sometimes as I could imagine, it's hard to make money that way. So she was getting most of her money from corporate clients. And as you can imagine, especially if you look at logos nowadays, they're typically very simple, very what's the word I'm looking for? I'm gonna just say boring. They're just very boring. They seem like very boring projects. Probably very easy for her, but not as fulfilling, I guess, as an artist. So she was really excited to do our stuff. And I remember when she was talking about it, I felt really connected to her, and she had told me the same thing, that she just kind of felt a connection to me. Especially, so we had met a second time with two more members of our dance crew and myself. I was the consistent one, just because I think the nature of me is I was always the one that got all the logistic stuff done, all the all the logistics stuff. So for the dance team, I used to be the one that got us our gigs or signed us up for the competitions. I would take care of this, all the logistics stuff. So I was the one that was really pushing to make sure that the logo got done, because at the time there were, I think, 11 of us. So I just naturally ended up taking charge when it came to those kind of things, scheduling and all that stuff. So I was at all the meetings. So at the second meeting, she bought me this chocolate croissant, and I remember one of the other members was like, "Oh, where's mine?" He was just joking, but she was just like, "Oh, sorry, I just feel this like connection to her." And yeah, it felt kind of like an older sister, like she was an older sister and I was the younger sister kind of vibe. She had mentioned that she just kind of felt this natural inkling to take care of me, and it was really nice. After that meeting, I remember, I think we did the deposit, and then she just disappeared. And I remember we were like, wow, did we just get scammed by this girl? Did this girl just take our money and run? Because she just stopped replying. And then a couple months later, she reached out. So me and one of the other girls went to go meet her, and what had happened was she actually got hospitalized for cancer on her birthday. She had fluid, I think, come up in her lungs, and so she was rushed to the hospital, and she was in something like a coma for a couple of months, and that's why she hadn't reached out to us, because she was literally in the hospital. And then she went through chemo. So when we met her, she was wearing a wig, and I remember distinctively she was telling us, appreciate your hair. Appreciate your hair, because you never know what could happen. And yeah, from there, we kept meeting up until we finally got the logo done. There was a lot of back and forth because, like I said, there were 11 of us on the team, so there was a lot of opinions. And looking back now, I realize that once we did create the logo, I did have to just make the decision, and it was really hard for me to do because it seemed like a big responsibility. And I actually remember some people kind of feeling like, oh, I don't think we needed to spend that money on this kind of thing. Sort of like, not that they didn't like it, but I don't know, and this is the thing, is I'm not sure what everybody had expected out of it, but at least we had a logo. But even after then, I just knew I wanted to keep in touch with her, and I think what I really loved about my relationship with her was it was very reciprocal. We didn't talk every single day, but I reached out to her as much as she reached out to me, and I think that's something I really value, especially nowadays, that reciprocity. And yeah, it was just such a beautiful connection. She was the one that introduced me to angel numbers. I didn't know that there was any significance in numbers. I remember one day we were talking about our birthdays, and I told her that I was born on July 3rd. I don't know if she just didn't have full knowledge of what a life path number was, or if she was talking about something else, but she was saying that we were both threes because she was born on the 12th. 1 plus 2 = 3. So I think she was just talking about our birth date, and I can get into this in another video, but your life path number is all the digits of your birthday, so your month, day, year, all added up and then reduced down to the lowest single digit number, or if it's a master number, which is 11, 22, or 33. So yeah, threes had always been special to her, and whenever I see 333 now, I usually immediately know that it's her that's communicating with me. I'm pretty sure that 333 is angel communication. Sometimes I believe it might be guidance, because 444 is also angels, but 444 is angel protection. So I believe 333 is assistance or guidance from your, it's like help from your angels. The number 3 also signifies community, because 1 is singular, 2 is a partnership, and then 3 is the first number where it's considered a group. So it usually signifies community as well. But yeah, I typically think of her when I see those numbers. So yeah, she was my first friend that I would say was a very spiritual alignment. I had the pleasure of having her in my life for about 2 years. She had beaten the cancer in the beginning, but it did come back. And in the last couple months, I got to hang out with her more. Going to work? My coffee. I don't know how to edit that out. I don't know if I will. Oh, this is perfect temperature now. Let's see, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I think I was talking about her decline, or being around for her decline. Yeah, like I remember she had grown her hair out to her shoulders, but when she started chemo again, she was losing it again. So I remember there was one time she asked me to tie her hair and help her fix it, and kind of try to cover the bald spots. And over time, she started having problems with her legs. She had, I think it's it had, the cancer was like, I think it's here. It's somewhere in the brains, somewhere near her brain, and then it started to affect her legs because of, I guess, whatever nerves the cancer was affecting. So first it started with her limping, and then she started walking with a cane, and then eventually she couldn't walk anymore and she was hospitalized again. I used to go with her to some of her stem cell appointments. But yeah, looking back, it didn't seem like a hard time. I just wanted to be around her. I just wanted to be with her through that time. I really wish I could, I guess, ask her more, because I'm in a time in my life where I feel like I've not lost a lot of friends, but through my separation, I really was able to see who was there for me. And I think what I'm getting from recounting this story was, I know that there weren't as many people there for her in the end as she probably would have hoped. Like, there were some people in the scene that I knew that knew her. I remember getting to encounter one in particular that she had mentioned before, and him saying that he had regretted that he hadn't gone to go see her, which is very interesting, because, you know, I think it's really through the hard times that you need people. But for some people, it's interesting that it's too hard for them when it's not happening to them. It's just interesting. But I remember there was this one guy that also would come visit her in the hospital. It was a guy that had a crush on her, and I remember in the very beginning when she first mentioned him and she wasn't as sick, I think she was still recovering, she would make fun of this guy because he drove a Zamboni. I think that was his job. A Zamboni is those things that you drive over the ice to smooth it out at an ice rink. And I think she was thinking that was not an acceptable job. And I remember, sirens could be significant. I was watching a different video where sirens kept going off. I need to look at the spiritual significance of sirens. But yeah, I remember she was talking about this other guy that was in LA. She used to really love to travel, and I remember she had a specific connection to New York. She really loved Nipsey Hussle. I remember it really saddened her when he had passed. And but yeah, this guy, he liked her, and in the beginning she wasn't willing to give him a chance. She was just kind of like, why would I go for a guy that drives a Zamboni? But I remember in the end, one of the last times that I had seen her in the hospital, she was telling me about how sweet he was, and how he came every week to visit her. And it's just interesting, you know, the people that you think are gonna be there for you during the really hard times, or in the end, it's never who you think. Yeah. So yeah, I had gotten to a point where I was visiting her every week. She also used to work at Starbucks, and at the time I was working at Starbucks, so I would bring her a drink. And I remember the last time I saw her, I got the drink wrong, and I told her I would get it right the next week. And I remember I texted her, and I didn't get a text back, and I hadn't thought anything of it. And then her brother found me on Instagram because he had seen the text, and he told me that she had passed. And unfortunately, by the time that he had texted me, the funeral had already passed as well. They had made the arrangements really quickly soon after she had passed, so I unfortunately didn't get to be there for that goodbye. But I have since gone to her grave a few times. I went sometime before I had gotten married because I took an invitation and I burned it there. And then I had gone another time just by myself, just to smoke with her and be there. But I think the reason why I don't go to her grave site very often is because I really do feel like she's with me. And I get messages from her. I'll bring up one story in particular because this is the one that I tell most people, because this was the most synchronistic thing that's ever happened in my significant thing. This is the most clear sign that I had ever gotten from somebody from the other side. And I'm sad because I'm not wearing this necklace now, but I have a Nike necklace. I only wear 2 necklaces. This is my 777 necklace because 7 is my life path number. And then I have another necklace that's a Nike necklace. So there's a store that had some Nike jewelry. It was limited edition, and about 6 months after she had passed, I remember clearly it was Boxing Day. And I remember clearly that it was Boxing Day because this necklace was not on sale. I love a good sale. Boxing Day in Canada, by the way, it's the day after Christmas. So kind of think of Black Friday, but the day after Christmas. It's just when everything goes on sale because Christmas is over and all the stores are trying to get rid of everything. I think of that as a holiday because I love shopping. I don't shop like that anymore, but yeah, that at the time that was like a sport to me. I would love to go and find deals. So anyways, I was Boxing Day shopping and I saw the necklace, and I impulsively bought it because I thought about her and I was thinking about how life is so short. Just get the things you want. So I bought the necklace. The necklace was $300. It is the biggest impulse purchase I had ever made. Anyways, so I bought this necklace, and I remember a few days after, I'm just gonna wait for this car to pass. I remember a few days after I had bought the necklace, I didn't know why, but I just started to look in the bag that it had came in, and there was a second necklace. So what did I do? I returned the second necklace and I kept the first one that I had already been wearing. And I had always thought that that was a gift from her because I thought of her in that moment. I knew I wanted the necklace and I got it, and essentially I had gotten it for free. That store doesn't exist anymore, so sometimes there was a moment where in life where I was like, I wonder if anybody ever got in trouble for that. And that's a different chain of events that is not mine to worry about, but I digress. But the point is, when you allow yourself to pick up signs, or when you're open to receiving signs from people from the other side, they are trying to communicate with you. There are numerous other times where I've gotten some sort of message or something came up and it was very much from her. Another time was I was working on branding for something of mine, and I knew I was on the right track because I was looking for branding questions from that first person. Did I even mention that? I don't know if I mentioned that we had met with somebody else. Oh, I did. We met with somebody else in the beginning that was about branding, and I was looking for the questions that she had sent us, but when I looked it up in my emails, I actually had an email from her pop up, and stuff. When things like that happen, I know I'm on the right track. I know she's telling me that I am on the right track. So yeah, I guess I'm sharing this in case maybe there are some people who have somebody who has passed who's trying to contact them. So if something happens and wow, recording outside is really loud, huh? That's kind of crazy because it stopped. I have alarms that go off. I have manifestation alarms that go off at times that are angel numbers, and today it is 3:33 right now. Talk about signs. But yes, all this to say, if you have somebody that was special in your life that passed over, and you think of them, or there's something that makes you think of them, take it as a sign from them. Because yeah, if you want to look at it from a scientific point of view, energy doesn't die. We are all energy. You know, we are all physical forms of energy. Our consciousness is energy. So when the physical body dies, that energy goes somewhere. Yeah. So I hope that resonates. I at least hope maybe you enjoyed that. Yeah, and I will likely talk to you again very soon. Bye. Hello. Okay, so it seems that soon was very soon because I realized that I had forgotten it wasn't very I had forgotten to mention a part of the story that I feel is, I guess, not significant in the sense that it's for the message, but just something that was part of the story that I want to mention. And also I thought I'd show the necklace. This is the Nike necklace that was in question. But also I had just wanted to mention that I also, while she was alive, I did end up getting a tattoo designed by her. So hopefully you can see it, but it's on my ring finger. It's an eighth note that goes into a treble clef. I knew I wanted something on my ring finger. I had gotten this well before I had gotten married. I wanted a tattoo that signified that I was married to the music. And I find it interesting because when I had first decided to get separated, and I had told one of my friends about it, one of my friends that was on the dance crew, I remember I was telling her that it had to do with the fact that there was a certain person that I needed to be, and being in that relationship wasn't serving my highest self. And I remember she had looked down at my finger and she saw the tattoo, and it reminded her, and for her, that's how she knew that I wasn't just making an impulsive decision, and that this was something that was part of my calling. So yeah, I felt like I wanted to add that to the video because, again, it's something that was given to me from her. And yeah, this whole video is just so, I guess, just my recollection of, you can say, proof that proof of relationships from the beyond. And I want to say something that some things just transcend time and space. I think part of the reason why I want to make this message is I think about people like my dad. For my dad, according to my brother, ever since his mom passed, that's when he got very dark. That's when he stopped believing in a lot of things, because, and I've talked to him about it before. I've asked him why he doesn't really believe in God, or why he doesn't think that there's an afterlife, because there's been, I've mentioned this story to him, and he almost always shuts it down. He's just like, oh, there's nothing after this. And I asked him why, and he said, well, nobody tried to contact me. You know, my favorite sister, when she passed, she never came to visit me. And I asked him, how does he know? I think a lot of people assume that if somebody passes and they come to visit you, that it's almost going to be like, you know, their ghost, or it's going to be something that's super, super obvious, something that's, yeah, like they come in a dream with a message, like you're going to see them again. And I'm here to recount my story, because that typically isn't it, because that's not how it works. I think the whole point of people passing and just the impermanence of life is to recognize the beauty of life while we're here in the physical, and just to understand how to interpret symbolism. Because basically what I've learned from what happened with the necklace and the things like the email popping up and other things that have happened that I see as signs from her, it's only because I'm open to those interpretations. I'm the type of person who is able to look at things and attach meaning, or to find the meaning. And I think that's something that's special about me, is that I'm able to just find so much meaning in things that are so small and so mundane. And not everyone can do that. There's a lot of people that are more so like my dad, that maybe they are getting signs. Maybe there are certain things that come up that they shared with that person, or who knows, and maybe it does make them think of them, but they don't think about it like that person is reaching out to them. They just miss them and they feel abandoned. And I'm here to say that the people who are in your life that pass don't abandon you. And when you one day pass, you won't be abandoning the people who you leave behind either. You're still with them. And it's a matter of choosing to believe that and choosing to see the signs. Because I've had other people that I've talked to about people passing and that have stories similar to mine. I have an aunt who is actually my dad's ex-wife, but I call her my aunt. Anyways, I digress. Her mother had passed, and there was a time where she was in Jamaica, and there was a bird, I believe it was a mocking, no. What's the bird with the long beak? I think it's a mockingbird. Oh, that's gonna bother me. Give me 1 second. It's a small bird. Hopefully I can figure out how to edit this so that you don't have to. No. It's not a mockingbird. What is the bird? Hummingbird. So sorry. So she had a hummingbird that landed, I think, on her, or either on her or very, very close to her, and then it came onto her finger or something like that. And she just knew it was her mom. And she was not the type who liked tattoos, but after that she had gotten a tattoo because that signified to her. I think it was that, and then another night she had dragonflies, and then it was the same thing. And it's just a matter of interpreting the signs, because there's so much symbolism everywhere. Especially now, I'm starting to, I guess, understand the language of the universe. Every time I see an animal and it seems like a significant thing, like if they come up to me or it's an animal that you don't see often, I look it up, and a lot of the time, or almost 100% of the time, it's significant. For example, whenever I see a skunk, skunks have to do with boundaries, and that's something that's a reoccurring lesson that has been very prominent in the last couple of months. And every time I see it, I'm like, okay, what is a boundary that right now in my life that I need to put up? So, yeah. So I guess learn how to see signs. You're never alone. And that's the rest of the message. So goodbye again. This time for real. If I have anything else to add, I'd probably add it in the description. But again, thank you for watching, especially if you got this far. I feel like because I watched it back, I felt like this one was a harder message for me to deliver. I don't know if it was because I was outside and there were just so many distractions, or if maybe I don't need to. I'm learning as I go along, so maybe it's not necessarily that I need to structure the videos, but maybe I do need to physically write out what I want to talk about and then go over that and then do the message so that it's easier and clearer for me to talk and deliver. But yeah, thank you for rocking with me. Have yourself a lovely day.